What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm once again joined by Tyler. We're back for another video on our Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker community series, a community series that airs every single Thursday on our channel, leading to The Rise of Skywalker, releasing in theaters on December 20th. Now, we're in a new month now in November, and it's time to talk about something else that you could potentially be a little negative for Star Wars. We had seen some news stories over the past couple of weeks kind of bracing us and bracing maybe even themselves that this could be one of the lowest performing Star Wars movies ever. It was talked about how it would have the lowest opening of any Star Wars film. Probably, not the main trilogy or main 9 movies in general, not really Solo, not Rogue One. And this kind of goes in line with what Tyler and I have talked about a lot with this movie. We had a video, I believe the second video in this community series, which you guys can check out. We talked about, could the movie fail? What would it look like if this movie failed? And we talked about the money aspect a little bit of, it could make $1 billion, it can make 1.2, 1.3, whatever, but, could it still be looked at as a failure? Now you couple that with the fact that they themselves are saying, hey, they're going to make a ton of money. This movie is going to sell tickets. It's going to make quite a bit of money. But is it going to really do all that well? And then there's, of course, kind of word of mouth afterwards that will help or hurt the film, in the weeks afterwards, after Christmas, through New Year's and all that. So I'm going to hand over to Tyler. Tyler, do you think, and I guess maybe to start, you should probably clarify what we mean about box office bomb, but do you think this movie could basically fail in the box office?
It's looking like it because, again, just like Alex just said, it's still going to do well. It's still going to make a lot of money. But for the talking about Star Wars, I think it's not going to do all that well. It might even do worse than The Last Jedi, which is that's not good. It's already projected to be one of the, if not the lowest grossing Star Wars saga films, so not including Rogue One or Solo Star Wars story. So out of the 9 films of the Skywalker saga, it's projected to be the lowest grossing film. That's not good. And there's really, I feel like the hype, The Last Jedi just killed it. We were saying before, or even in when Episode 8 came out, is Star Wars dead now? It's not that it's dead, but people are really, if you watch those videos, if you were there when we made those videos, people are upset. Like, they're really hurt by The Last Jedi. They lost any kind of hope and they almost don't care anymore because they've already been hurt. Which, that kind of sounds slightly dramatic, but there are people who love Star Wars to death. They live and breathe Star Wars. They have Star Wars stuff in their house. They love Star Wars. And, what they did to Luke Skywalker. And I can't speak for them, but I'm just remembering from the comments. People are really hurt by what they did to Luke Skywalker and just how everything was handled in Episode 8. And a lot of them, I remember saying that they will not see Episode 9. They're just done. Because the damage is done, literally, to them. Their heart is broken. And they're just not going to do it. And you got to remember, Star Wars is so big that there's a lot of people worldwide that probably feel that way. Come on, nobody liked Episode 8. Few people really liked Episode 8. Seriously, the media liked Episode 8 because it was SJW and a lot of other stuff. And you know how I know that is because you don't have. When does the media say to you? And when I say media, I mean TV and articles, journalists. When do they say that if a movie does bad, that the people saying that it was a bad movie are Russian bots and trolls? That you don't hear that kind of stuff. Yet all these other type of movies can be horrible, and then they can make articles about how bad it is and what they should have done different. But then when it comes to Star Wars, that went like SJW and basically turned everything upside down. All of a sudden, if you say if you have criticism of it, you're a Russian bot and a troll. So that's how you know that the majority of people that saw the film didn't like it. So because they have to attack you. They have to attack you for not liking it because they want you to like it because it's what they want. Star Wars to be, not what Star Wars actually is. So that pissed a lot of people off as well. So, because you don't have to be a major Star Wars fan to pick up on all the stuff that happens in Episode 8, and it's just a garbage movie. On top of all of the fans, and when I say fans, you're talking original fans and so 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, 3. So, all of those people are like, this is horrible. So they're not going to watch Episode 9. So naturally, that's even if you have a couple million or a couple 100,000 people, that's a lot of money. Ticket-wise, that's a ton of money. And they're just done. They don't care anymore. And here's the thing, too, is Disney and Lucasfilm, they beat Star Wars to death, having a Star Wars movie every single year. That wasn't a good idea, but because they were just money hungry. So people are just going to wait. If they watch The Rise of Skywalker, they'll probably watch it on Disney Plus in early 2020. They're not going to pay. They're not going to take the whole family to go see a movie that they don't trust, because they already did that for Episode 8, and they left and they weren't happy. They're not going to do that again for Star Wars Episode 9, because they don't believe in it anymore. They don't care anymore. They're not going to want to pay for it. And to be honest, I don't really blame them. I like Star Wars. I think The Rise of Skywalker is looking much better, but I'm never going to forget, literally never going to forget The Last Jedi. I can't. It was a horrible film, and if we didn't have podcasts now, I don't think I'd be going on opening night. I really don't. I'd probably say, you know what, I can go in a week or two when there's less crowd or whatever. But and to be fair, I live in Las Vegas, or Alex does now too, Las Vegas. So really, any theater we go in will be pretty busy. But I guarantee you, we're going to see images on Twitter, and maybe from Twitter and Instagram or whatever, of people at the premiere, and with the majority of the seats pretty empty. I have a very strong feeling we're going to see that kind of stuff, and then you're going to see articles trying to sweep it under the rug as if, oh, well, that's because they were super early, even though it isn't. So you're going to have that again, because you're going to have those same people trying to say, oh, well, if you don't like the movie, it's because you're the problem. It's not the movie, it's you. So, people just don't want to deal with that stuff. They really don't. So I really do think it's going to be basically a Star Wars box office bomb, because and you know whose fault it is? It's their own. They caused the problem. They wanted to do this big shake-up and push some kind of dumb agenda instead of just making a Star Wars film, because Episode 7 did really well and people really liked it. Then they pulled a stunt with Episode 8 and it didn't work, and now people are pissed because of it, and they're not going to go see 9, and it's going to make them lose a lot of money. And honestly, I'm glad. They deserve it, because they need to be taught a lesson somehow, and guess what? Money talks. That's the only way. So I do think, and I have no grudge against Star Wars or whatever. I hope that Star Wars Episode 9 ends on a high note. I hope it's a great film. I really want to enjoy it. I think I will. I think I'll be happy with it. And honestly, I think the people who are still hurt by Episode 8, and I am too, but I think that the people who were hurt by Episode 8 and say, you know what, well, I am a Star Wars fan. I want to see how it ends, so I will go. And then, if I don't like it, I'll make that known. I think most people will enjoy it. I really do. But I don't blame the people, and I know that they exist, people that saw Episode 8 and refuse to see Episode 9. And again, I don't blame them, and that's where it's going to really start to hurt them. Star Wars in the box office. So yeah, I do think it's going to be a semi-box office fail. I really do.
Very well said, and I completely agree. I think it's funny because what's going to happen, I feel like, with this movie is there's going to be more talk possibly after it about Episode 8 than actually Episode 9. The film may actually be pretty darn solid, maybe even a great film, and what's going to happen is if it does not that well in the box office, they're going to just blame the trolls or the Russian... I don't even know how you're going to do that, how you're going to blame the trolls and Russian bots of Episode 8 for Episode 9. It really doesn't actually matter, especially like Russian bots, but I really feel like that's going to be one of the main discussion points to it. But I do totally see it. I mean, it's something that Tyler and I have been talking about for a little while, and even after Episode 8, you have seen a lot of people that took like our side, or they were just on our side in general with like, hey, there was a lot of problems, like 8's a terrible movie. all of us would have told you 2 years ago that episode 9 is going to suffer box office wise. And we've kept that pretty consistent over the last 2 years. We've been saying that, the entire time. Now we just now start seeing, the whole projections that like, hey, brace yourself. Like, it's not going to make as much opening weekend as it's done in the past. And they can't say, well, it's because of timing. I mean, they always come out around the same time. Normally, I think it comes out a few days earlier. I think it was like the 15th, the last two movies, but it's around that same week, the week right before Christmas. So they can't blame timing for it. You could really only blame one thing. Like Tyler said, that's episode 8. It's going to be really fun when they don't blame the fact that was a bad movie, when they try and blame some other aspect or some other maybe groups of people. That's when the fantastic videos on YouTube will be made. That's when people will really start jumping in and start having like a fight, basically, and it'll actually be all media driven. It's a good discussion for another day, but I really do see this movie, just dropping, and I think it'll still hit $1 billion. I think it's a Star Wars film. It's going to be very hard for it to not hit $1 billion. I mean, I should say, main saga Star Wars film. Even though Rogue One also did it, Solo is the only Star Wars film that didn't hit $1 billion. So even Rogue One got over $1 billion. So you have to think this one is at least going to make 1.1 billion. I honestly feel like it's going to be around there. I think the same thing that happened last time with the China thing, I don't think it'll happen exactly the same, but I could see it, very much underperforming at like key areas around the world that they expect to kind of prop it up. And I could honestly see it having a little tough time getting to 1 billion. I could see it taking maybe longer than any other movie, and I do actually envision a scenario where this movie could just crawl over 1 billion. Like, it may not even hit 1.1. And you look at what Star Wars The Force Awakens, I mean, that was unsustainable. You can't have, that made, I believe, 2 million or 2 billion, 2.1 billion. I mean, no movie, it's very, very rare that could ever happen. That was obviously just because Star Wars was back. But Tyler's right. You saw the kind of reception to it was like, man, was it a copy of A New Hope? Yeah, it was. But it was really darn solid. It pretty much pleased everybody. Like, when we went out of episode 7, the general consensus with episode 7 is just like everybody's just on sky high, right? Everybody's just having fun. It was a really fun time. Great to see it back. It looks like it's back to being really, really good. Nothing to worry about. We're all good. And like Tyler said, they pulled what they did with The Last Jedi. And yeah, that wasn't going to make as much money. And episode 9 wasn't going to make as much. Like, it'll never hit 2 billion again. But The Last Jedi definitely, I think it made 1.2 or 1.3, and then obviously it divided fans big time. I could see this movie dropping another, 200 million, maybe even struggling to get to $1 billion just in general. And if it doesn't hit $1 billion, that's going to be a big problem for Disney. I guarantee you we will see articles and we'll see things from Disney talking about this film. Again, maybe blaming people, blaming whatever they want to blame, but there'll be something out there if this film does not cross $1 billion. That would be an absolute major hit. And also to Tyler's point about like the empty theaters, we already kind of know if you believe in a little bit of conspiracies, but it's not even conspiracy. If you look around the internet, they have a history, Disney, of buying their own tickets, or at least kind of what we can kind of piece together of filling their own seats without filling their own seats. It is very possible that it does do good opening weekend, but at the same time, people are like, well, there's not that many people in theaters. And, there has been kind of evidence to suggest that maybe they did that with Captain Marvel. Star Wars is another prime candidate. I would think that they would do the same thing. They have a marketing budget. Normally, the marketing budget's around the same as the actual movie budget, or around 50% to like 75%. They could use that and spend half of it just by buying tickets. It is totally possible. We'll have to see, though. So, guys, let us know in the comments below. Do you think this will be a box office bomb? Again, considering what Tyler and I said, making $1 billion, could you consider that a bomb? You can when we're talking about something like this. So do you think it's going to bomb? Yes or no? Let us know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Make sure you guys are hitting that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up as well. And again, these videos go up every single Thursday leading to December 20th. Tyler and I are going to be seeing this opening night. We'll have loads of videos covering it afterwards. So many more Star Wars videos to come over the next several weeks, and we hope to see you guys there.